I started eating food again in 2024. What will 2025 bring? By Whitney Defoe. I started eating real food again in 2024. I have avoided saying anything about it because I, and my doctors, have no idea why it has happened, and being public about it always felt like it could jinx it or something like that. MECFS is so full of mysteries. If we don't know what brings us something, how can we know what might take it away? It started when I began developing an insatiable sense of thirst while the food pump was running, bypassing my paralyzed, super-sensitive stomach and pumping liquid Peptamen formula into my jejunum intestines. For the last 11 years since 2013, I have never felt hunger or thirst. My stomach has always felt full. Even if I went days without eating, I would get weak, but not feel hungry. Even if I went without water, I would feel a craving for water or smoothies, but my stomach would still feel full. So this was very new. Back when my stomach was collapsing, I had an experience where I needed to have blood drawn, and my blood is very thick. The only way to actually draw any blood was for me to chug water beforehand. Otherwise, you literally could not pull blood out of my body, it was too thick for a needle. So despite only being able to drink a few sips before my stomach felt full, I had to drink a whole liter of water so I could have blood drawn for important tests. Well, they seemed important at the time, winking face. And so I just chugged a mason jar full of water, fast. And somehow the feeling of necessity of it combined with chugging the water fast, it wound up being okay. So I remembered that, and one day this new profound sense of thirst in early 2024 became so strong I just decided to chug water again, having faith in the feeling of thirst, and hoping if I chugged the water like that again it would be okay. And it was fine. I chugged a whole large mason jar of water without stopping, after not drinking even a drop in 11 years. It felt incredible. It was like nectar of the gods flowing through me. So I kept drinking water every time I felt thirsty like this, but never when I didn't. But I didn't chug, I went more slowly and carefully. This was not a frat house for MECFS water-starved teens' tears of joy. Slowly this built, and I tried a bit of juice, and that was okay, so I continued drinking more juice of different kinds. And then I started feeling hungry. The first thing I tried eating was whole milk organic yogurt. Because that was always the easy set thing for my stomach to eat, and also the last thing my stomach was able to eat in 2013. So it made sense. For those scrutinizers out there, yogurt is partially digested by the lactobacillus bacteria and thus very easy to digest. And it was fine, and delicious. If I remember right, the next thing I ate was dark chocolate, of all things. Smile, this makes less sense, but let me explain. In 2010 to 2013, before my stomach collapsed, I was trying everything to try to feel better, and I had very bad experiences listening to dietitians and trying to follow prescribed diets like carnivore, or caveman, or keto, etc. Anytime I went against what my stomach craved or what felt good for my stomach to try to follow a pre-prescribed diet, it always just hurt my stomach and did not make me feel any better mentally or physically. In fact, this probably caused the decline of my stomach functioning to needing a J-tube. It turned out that what would have been best is to just listen to what my stomach wanted, craved, and what felt good. So I was determined this time to avoid any prescribed foods if I was going to eat again, and just eat what felt right. So I ate some chocolate. And that was incredible too. I started eating some chocolate every day. And then I started trying some baby food pouches. They make some much better quality baby foods these days compared to last time I had been in a grocery store. And these were all incredible too. Applesauce, sweet potatoes, root veggie combos, etc. All organic and tasty. I believe I then tried potatoes or baked sweet potatoes, made by my caregiver. This was one of the most comforting foods for my stomach before it collapsed. Cut in discs and covered in oil and cinnamon and ginger. Yum. So I slowly kept going like this, listening to my stomach, not doctors or dietitians or internet fads. Just my stomach. What sounded good and worked before my stomach collapsed. I tried eating again, carefully and slowly. I have now stopped the Peptamen food formula completely, and get all my calories from real food. Rice cakes with nut butters, honey and sea salt, veggie sushi, stir-fried vegetables with sesame oil and tamari, baked sweet potatoes, gluten-free crackers with hummus, even gluten-free crackers with Gruyere cheese. Because, well, it's delicious, but also back before my stomach collapsed I could only eat hard cheeses, and more. It has come time that I feel stable enough with this new change that I feel comfortable telling you all. And I want to tell you because I want you to hear this story. I could not eat even a crumb of food for 11 years. That might wind up being 15% of my whole life or more. And now my stomach is eating plenty of calories. In fact, I have gained 60 pounds since eating again. Both me and my doctors think my body is freaking out a little and storing calories as fat after being on the liquid diet for so long and not eating real food. I'm hoping it won't continue, and I can lose some of it, but I also know weight gain is common for ME/CFS patients, so I'm trying to accept it too, knowing I'll hit the gym as soon as I get better. Who out there thought my stomach could start working again after everything I had been though? Please raise your hand. If my stomach can recover back to normal functioning after 11 years of absolute shutdown, what can the rest of our bodies do? What can our muscles do again? What can our brains do again? A lot of people think, and some careless Twitter doctors say, that the symptoms of ME/CFS and long COVID are permanent because of various limited test results or data, like brain scans. I want you to read this story and think about the possibilities. We do not know enough about ME/CFS or long COVID to know if anything is permanent. We don't even know enough about the human body. How many times has the medical and scientific world thought they know everything about something only to discover they were completely wrong? None of the people who say that ME/CFS, long COVID causes permanent damage would ever have believed I would ever eat again. But here I am. If I started eating again in 2024, the question I want to ask you all is, what will I do in 2025? And I also want you to consider the very real possibility that none of your symptoms are permanent. Even the brain. I don't care what brain scans show. We don't know enough. The brain is extremely adaptable, rewirable, repurpose-able, etc. Don't let the Debbie Downers get you down. I personally believe that no ME/CFS, long COVID symptoms are permanent, that all of them are reversible and that we can get all of it back. Of course, I don't know what has led to this recovery with my stomach, and I do think an intervention in the form of a treatment or a cure will be necessary for most of us to fully recover. But I do think we can fully recover. I love you all. Red Heart Whitney.